Barron! Yeah!
So nice. You had it for Deborah again? First time coming here? It looks like spring is finally here. And you know what that of course means for a lot of people. You can see the flowers coming out. Flowers I've always been intrigued by because it's the one beautiful thing in the world that you're encouraged to mutilate. You just like go, it's so pretty! Let me cut part of you off and put you in a weird bottle of water and chemicals in my kitchen to impress my girlfriend. That's gonna be great. I mean, you don't see anybody going up to a puppy, oh, you're so cute, I'm gonna decapitate you and then hang you over my mantle. But yeah, I got a lot of odd thoughts like this in my head. Probably because I get a lot of odd facts from things I read. One of the more interesting odd facts that I got in the last few weeks was reading this book on China. And apparently, the number of blind people in China is roughly equal or slightly surpasses the entire population of Denmark. And since I have way too much free time in my hands, I just started thinking, what would win in a fight? All the blind people of China or the population of Denmark? Some people would think Denmark. I'm willing to bet on China. Why? Because my knowledge of Kung Fu movies teaches me that blind people apparently make awesome martial arts. My thoughts kept expanding for this, because it means, this is how I think, that wait a minute. So that must mean that all the left-handed people in Denmark must outnumber the total population of Iceland. Just imagine a bunch of drunk Dane guys at the left-handers meeting. Yeah, man. Fucking tired of this. Let's get on a boat and kick some icy ass. Yeah, alright. But these type of facts are always in books or statistics. They always have just ridiculous comparisons. They're just, you know, when they want to show like American excess, they're like, do you realize that more duck is consumed in the city of Indianapolis than in all of Bolivia? I don't really guess these facts, but they're in books all the time. Or ones that try to make you feel wasteful. You're just driving your car. Oh yeah, this is pretty good. Everything's kind of relaxed here. Hey, and then you turn on the radio and it's just like, do you realize that the gas you have spent in the last 10 minutes could have kept the power running in all of North Africa for 90 years? And what the fuck am I supposed to do about it? It's just making me, you realize that you probably could have done that for the budget necessary to make this radio advertisement as well? You just get a lot of these things, just, you know, odd facts. One of the things that always gets me is you see a lot of people all the time, whenever there's something on, they're always nostalgic for the past. People are always, you know, they're always like, oh, the past, things were wonderful. I've noticed this is always white people who want to be nostalgic for the past. There's very few black or Latino people who are like, yeah, let's go to the 30s. That was just a wonderful decade I enjoy reading about. And there's lots of other stuff. You see people like Ren fairs, and they're always, you know, I don't really want to go to the past because I've studied a lot of history. I mean, I want to go to the era where it's just like, hey Dave, what's wrong? Oh, twisted my ankle yesterday. You got anything for it? Yes, amputation. We're going to amputate your leg, and then we're going to put a mixture of dirt and cow shit on the stub, which should heal you or send you to heaven. But that's the same thing in our period. You see lots of stuff. I mean, do you think that there were a lot less kids, you know, faking illnesses to try to get out of school when the cure for it might have involved leeches on your genitals? Just like, hi, yeah, I'm not feeling too good today. All right, then we're going to take you to the local wizard and see what he can come up with. Additionally, the smell. I mean, if you just factor in that soap is what invented in, like, you know, widely available in like 1890, there were thousands of years of history that just smelled awful. You know, like, you know that one day you go to the bathroom and you wash your hands and you just can't get the smell off, and you wash it, you like scald yourself, you wash it, and you still just all day long something smells weird? That was all of your body every day in the past, no matter who you were. But one of the groups that I see that's often, you know, really excited about the past, and they're always like, is, you know, the kind of Tea Party fascist idiots you see every now and again. They're just always, you know, they're always like, oh, the past was so great. And these are the same people who, they're opposed to certain government programs. They're opposed to, you know, health care. They're opposed to welfare. They're opposed to expanded education. because this could lead to socialist tyranny. Now, I find it odd that most of these people are opposed to a phrase they couldn't properly spell, but that's just me. But what always gets me is these same people are always then gung-ho supporters of the police, or gung-ho supporters of the military, which are the actual tools of government that would probably be used to oppress you in the process of a tyranny. I mean, I've studied a lot of history, and I've yet to lead to, yes, the brutal Bolivian pediatrician-based dictatorship was quite oppressive to the people, giving them free inoculations. Yes, the dictatorial librarians of the Soviet Union, known for trampling on human rights. I read a lot of the history. One of the interesting things I read, I was showing some friends in New York, and I was hanging out at their house and waiting for them, and they had the book, you might have read it, Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. And this book, analyzes how different things work, and one of the things they talk about is how Sesame Street was created. And I don't know if you know this, but to design the program, they used this almost Pavlovian, Soviet-esque technique. They literally brought children in and would monitor their eye movement to see which things they responded. This was why there's so many Muppets on the show. They would just do this. They would just sit kids in a room. I'm just trying to imagine this. Yes, we have ways of making you laugh, my children. But, I mean, I can understand it, because, you're kind of programmed from Sesame Street in a good way. I mean, think about it. We all watch Cookie Monster, and our generation's much more sympathetic to legalized marijuana. We all watch Oscar the Grouch, and now we're a little sympathetic to people with depression. Some people need to use Xanax. We understand that. If you're grouchy, you're like Oscar, man. You need some, for Christ's sake, he lived in a pill bottle. We all watch Bert and Ernie, and this generation is incredibly supportive of gay marriage. But besides reading all this, one of the things I like to do is watch the news. But what gets really frustrating when you watch the news is they always have stories that follow each other a few days apart, and it's always whenever they're covering a vice, like gambling. Like first they'll do a big thing on how awesome Vegas and Reno is, and Macau, and then they'll just run a whole story about, yes, Dave was a happy accountant, but then gambling came and he was forced to sell his children's kidneys. They'll have something, and it's just like, for marijuana, it'll be like, hey, marijuana's great. It can cure heart disease, and cancer, and hunger. Not a lot of potheads in this audience, I guess. But then afterwards, they'll do like the next thing. It's like, yes, if you smoke marijuana one time, you will kill your mother and your testicles will explode. But the one thing I noticed they do a lot also for is pornography. They had this woman, her porn star name is Belle Knox, and she's a student who goes to Duke University, and she, announced herself as a porn star. And then, because she was tired of the negative publicity of being a porn star at her school, decided to go on every news agency in the country to announce she was a porn star. And so afterwards, they always have these things where they interview some porn women, and they're in nice business suits, and they're just like, it's an expression of affection we feel between each other, especially on the face. And it's always this super dignified, and then they're just like, hey, porn's not so bad, see, it empowers women. And then 2 days later, this same news channel, sometimes with the same host, will air a news story. It's like, is America suffering from porno addiction? These following questions may lead to the answer. When you hear the initialism DSL, do you think of something besides high-speed internet connection? When you hear the term POV, do you think of something besides an interesting cinematic choice? And when you hear the initialism BBC, do you think of something besides the British Broadcasting Corporation? Well, thank you very much for your time.
Shawn, Barron.